Mondo Ponds, a 36.5-acre portion of the Beaver Brook watershed in Milford, is officially named the Mondo Ponds Nature Preserve and Education Center. Mondo Ponds is a beautiful resource for the citizens of Milford because it provides ecological significance, scenic value, and recreational opportunities. Its potential for the study of nature and ecology has earned it the reputation as a landscape for learning. Milford purchased the Mondo Ponds property from the South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority in 1986, when it was no longer needed for public water supply. Prior to the city's acquisition of the site, it had been part of a farm and later was developed as a gravel pit, then sold to the Milford Water Company. Thus, it became part of the public water supply system and was enhanced and maintained as 5 cascading ponds from west to east, flowing south to the Housatonic River and out to Long Island Sound. The ponds are an inspiring example of man's reclamation of the environment.
Welcome to Mondo Ponds. My name is Richard Julian. I work for the Connecticut Audubon Coastal Center, and we're going to be exploring the ecosystem here around Mondo Pond. We started here at the north side, where the water flows into the pond. One of the great things I like about Mondo Pond, it's a nice little ecosystem here in a rather developed suburban neighborhood. We have a nice mixture of the water coming in, providing a great aquatic habitat for muskrats and fish and other types of organisms. But then surrounding the pond are a series of smaller different types of habitats. We'll find a lot of shrubbery with lots of beautiful flowers, a nesting habitat for birds, and there's wetland cattail marshes that we're going to be exploring later on. On the far side of the pond, you can see a nice stand of conifers, mixtures of spruce and other evergreen trees. And then at the far back side of the pond, on the south west side of the pond, is the outflow to the pond. And what we're going to do is take a tour of the pond, the various different ecosystems, the various different plants and animals and habitats that make up this very special ecosystem here in Milford. So we've moved over to the west side of the pond, and actually Mondo Pond is made up of a series of about 5 different ponds. There's the one main pond off to my left, and one of the larger secondary ponds is off to my right. A really important part about the ecosystem around the pond is the edges of the pond. The types of vegetation that grows around the edges of the water also acts as a buffer. So this edge effect and the shrubs and the grasses that grow around the edge are important for the pond as well as the wildlife around the pond. But if we move back over here to one of these smaller ponds, we talked about the larger pond having a lot of water movement through it, the stream coming in and flowing out the other side. These smaller ponds are a little bit more static, and it also has a benefit for a lot of different types of aquatic wildlife. A lot of aquatic invertebrates, insects will lay their eggs in this water. It's a little bit more calm. And then right now in May and June, a lot of these insects will hatch out. We've moved over a little bit farther west around the pond. We're going to step back away from the pond, and over on the far side, we have a vernal pool. Now we talked about the difference between the larger pond and its water flow and the smaller ponds and their stagnant water. Well, vernal pools are even another different characteristic about them, is that they only fill up during certain times of the year. Vernal equinox, springtime, vernal pools fill up during the spring with the heavy rains that come down. Then come around summertime, they're going to have to deal with the very dry conditions back in. And not all trees can handle that. And so we find a change in the plant community as well. And we talked about the change in the plant community with the Phragmites grass. And here along the path, we've noticed when we first saw it on the other spot, it was very short and very young. But a good mature stand can grow 5 feet, or if you look off in the back, it can get 10 or 12 feet high. And it gets very thick. The roots and the shoots will get very dense. So those animals, like the salamanders and the frogs, if they're trying to get access into that vernal pool, this dense vegetation might prevent them from getting in there. We're here in the conifer forest. These large, majestic spruce trees form almost like a cathedral out here in nature. We're here on the south side of the pond, but these tall trees with their dense canopy of pine needles, with their dense canopy of needles, block out a lot of the sunlight. So there might be some birds and some other organisms, insects, feeding up at the top of the canopy. But as you move your way down to the understory, unlike other trees that let in more sunlight, there's very little vegetation here at the bottom. If you look down on some of these grounds, you might see an old tree like this one. The tree fell probably during a storm, got knocked down, but even though it's dead, its decomposition, slowly breaking down that wood, is forming new soil for new plants. Other organisms, insects and insect larvae, termites, will be feeding and growing inside this dead tree. A small little microcosm in and amongst itself. So it's a beautiful view of the pond from here in the conifer forest. It's a great shot. You can see some of the small little islands that dot the pond, and a lot of the waterfowl, the ducks and the geese that come into the pond. A lot of them will come in here to use the water, looking for food, but they can find shelter in here on those islands as well. And if you look off here down on the southeastern part of the pond, is where the water exits. So anything that gets blown into the water from the plants, or anything that we people put into this water, has the potential of not just staying here, but exiting the pond through the stream off here on the southeast portion. That stream will flow under a beautiful little bridge and flow down and out through the series of smaller ponds, and eventually we'll get into what's called Beaver Brook. And that brook will flow out into the Housatonic River. So how we treat this pond and what we do around here not only affects the pond, but a much larger area as well. All right. Oh, you got to follow directions quickly. Run out in the field, I move fast. Helps me stay warm. So we talked about an ecosystem, right? A mixture of biotic, the plants and animals, and the abiotic, the non-living. You're going to have a map so you can figure out where you are, because we're going to make different stops along the pond. You're going to look at what we call the human factor, how people interact with the ecosystem. Do people do good things for the ecosystem? Yeah, like put up bird boxes, okay, clean out certain areas, pick up garbage. Do people do bad things? Yeah. So you're going to focus not just on the bad things, but the good and bad interactions that people have as we're walking around. Everybody ready? Yeah. All right. pick one person in your group to come on up and grab a clipboard. What types of animals might come to this water?
Oh.
Right? So what type of interaction will those frogs or salamanders have with the water? Why are they coming? Right, they might come to drink. What else they might come to do? Bathe, or especially frogs like to do what in the water? No, they got very important so they can reproduce. Right, it needs to be in the... Oh, you guys got a question about that?
They put oil in there?
No, this is a natural oil. This is coming from the plants. Plants produce oil. Remember, corn oil, vegetable oil. All around. Are you just going to use your eyes for observations?
No.
What else are you going to use? Right, your nose for smells, your hearing, even your senses for temperature changes. Okay, I'm just double checking. I want to make sure you check out the whole area around you. Also listen for some things too. Mushrooms are poisonous, but what do you have to do? No, you have to eat it, right. If you just touch it, you'll love it. But anyways, anytime before you eat anything, what should you do? You guys should wash your hands anyway before you eat.
Don't squish it. It's a red inside there. Where's the queen? Right over there, Lisa. No. Right over there, right over there. No, the queen is down inside. She never comes out.
Ooh, what's that? Hey, who's got human factor?
What is it?
Who's got interaction?
Oh, we do.
What type of interaction happened here?
It molded onto the tree, into the tree.
Yeah, it looks like someone did what to the tree?
Carved.
Right, cut it, carved it out, maybe
What's the
took a
yellow
knife.
stuff?
You got any idea what that yellow stuff is?
That?
Mm-hmm.
It is?
Maybe some of the fresh wood too. There you go. So thanks a lot. I got to head out and meet with another group, but I hope you all had fun. Oh, thanks, James. You're the best. Slide it in there for me. Awesome.
All right, thank you
All
so
set?
much.
Thank you, guys. All right, we're heading back. Let's go.
All right, sounds good.
The extraordinary beauty and significant ecological resources of Mondo Ponds make it an important educational resource for Milford school children and a peaceful oasis for everyone, children and adults alike, who enjoy a quiet walk to view the sights and sounds of nature. Our challenge is to use this preserve in such a way that its important natural systems will not be diminished, but will continue to flourish under our stewardship. We ask all visitors to respect the rich and unique special qualities Mondo Ponds contributes to Milford's quality of life.